Hello, my fellow readers. I Dark Symphony 777 with another fan fiction review. As always, the link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts on the story. And finally, my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. So, I am going to be doing something very different with this specific review. This story, Total Drama Multiverse of the Island by Princess Gumbo Walrson 777. I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. The story's bad. The author knows the story's bad. I know the author knows I know the story is bad. So we're not gonna skip pleasantries. We're not gonna go through this whole kit and caboodle on like what specifically is wrong with the story, because everything with the story kind of stems from one thing: inexperience. The author is simply not experienced enough to write this type of story. And that's fine, inexperience happens. And especially in this case where, the author's still kind of learning how stuff works, like trying to find her voice and all that. So, that's a good black cherry. Some IBC black cherry I'm drinking right now. So, instead of going through like the characters and plot and everything, I'm going to basically give a bunch of advice, because that's more or less why the author wanted me to read the story. It's like, I just want advice on the story, like what to do, what not to do. It's like, yeah, that's fine. So we're going to frame this specific story, or more specifically this specific video, on the author continues writing, learning the craft, all that, comes back, it's like, I want to remake Multiverse of the Island. What do I do? What do I not do? And how do I make it very different? And we're going to go on the assumption that, she's learned how to write, she's learned how to practice, she's gotten better at writing, because again, like with this story specifically, a lot of the issues is just she's just still inexperienced on like everything that goes into writing. So I'm not gonna criticize her that much and everything. So, what do we have with Multiverse now? Now, in terms of what the story is, it tries to go to a back to basics approach with like Camp Aqua and all that, but with like the whole multiverse. Like, honestly, there's just so many of these multiverse stories I've done, and in order to do one of these stories, you need to do one or two things, because honestly, the whole every single like different dimension campers, it's just honestly played out. Either one, have to do a very cool idea to kind of get you that hook. Like with Multiverse Edition, having the buddy gimmick, again, going back to that story, I liked the gimmick. It was a great way to hook you. Or you basically had to write a really, really good, over the top story that has great characters in it. You can't just have a bog standard multi-dimensional stuff anymore. So when it comes to this story, everything I'm presenting, because I didn't read the whole story. I only got to the merge. As soon as I got to the merge, it's like, okay, I kind of see. I kind of got everything that I needed to see. I did spoil myself. I know who won, but I just traditionally read it all the way to the merge, because it's like, okay, I know for a fact the author, is gonna want advice on like how to present it, how to do everything. So it's like, okay, so just take everything let's just settle for everything from the beginning to the merge, how to set up everything and all that. I think a great hook for this story, like a remake of the story, has to do with the captains. Now, the story actually tried to do something different with saying like this is like an anniversary special, and Chris takes 3 campers from the previous seasons, from the previous official seasons. He takes Bridget from Total Drama Island, from the first generation of Total Drama Island, Zoe from the second generation, and then he planned on getting Sky, I think it was Sky, from third generation, but then they got switched up with Junior, so we have so you have three different generations of Total Drama, but they competed. What I think should be done for a remaster of the story would be, instead of having them compete, have them be the interns. That would be an interesting take on the whole intern thing that a lot of these Total Drama crossover fics do. They always have interns, and they always end up just, kind of being like random guys like the Ginyu Force and the Animaniacs, stuff like that. This would have more precedent because in all those stories, the interns don't really have much of an impact on the plot. But with this story, you could have the interns actually be heavily involved in the plot. Why? Because the author does triple team, a la World Tour. Instead of like the animal teams, you have Team Bridget, you have Team Zoe, and you Team Junior. The three interns, we're just going to call them interns now, the three interns are basically going to be the captains of the team. And you basically say, like, oh, like the whole them opening up the prisons. I thought that's a nice touch of like setting up the teams. Like, you can do that, and you can do the same thing, but instead he lays it all in line. All right, so for this season, you three are going to be in your own teams. There's a bunch of prisons right over there. Each one contains one of the contestants. You're going to open the prison. That's who's going to be. Once that person comes out, they're on your team. So now you have a expectation, like, okay, first off, it introduces the characters in a unique way instead of like being dropped off. It's like, it's a surprise. Aha! And all that. You could basically have the same amount of teams. Honestly, you would just need to get rid of Sweets. It's just like, oh, Sweets he's just kind of there. Get rid of him. And more or less, you kind of just have the setup there. You can introduce the characters each then. So like, whoever the first character is, you get the little introduction card, and you get like them doing you also show their audition type, where they're at, and why they're doing it. It's a great, interesting way of setting everything up. Once teams are set up, and honestly, you can just do the same teams as they are in the show. I think they should be at the bottom, right? No. I think it should be at this episode, right? Yeah, there we go. These are the teams. You can just basically do the same teams as in the story, but with the difference of removing Bridget, Zoe, and Junior as contestants. And you can either replace them with like 3 more contestants, whatever you want, or even like keep Sweet and put in 2 more, however you want it. Instead, those 3 Bridget, Zoe, and Junior are basically going to have a clash of generations, a generational thing, where Chris is like, okay, we're going to have a challenge. He tells the challenge to the 3 captains. The captains are not allowed to be eliminated until like at all, but the author's probably going to do that and stuff like that. Chris gives a hint towards what the challenge is, and the author, well, not the author, then each captain goes to their respective team and tries to figure out how to interpret that, what the vague thing Chris is suggesting, to try and help the team figure things out. The idea, you could also use the truck shop. Honestly, the truck shop is like the only unique thing. Like, oh, here's like a random gift shop full of like random stuff that you can just kind of use. And you can also, whatever you buy, like before each challenge, you're giving like $100, and you can go into the shop and you buy whatever you want, and you can use it to help in the contest, help ruin the opponent's days. There's a lot you could do at the truck shop. So use the truck shop as like more important to like the challenge. It's like, okay, there's stuff in there that might or might not help you in the challenge. It might be clues to the challenge, like the stock's gonna rotate every episode, you know, kind of keeping it going, and maybe and have it be worth your while. Like, do you want to risk using that? Do you want to risk buying the stuff to help you with the challenge because it might not be helpful depending on like how you do it, because you can use that whole uncertainty of like the vague challenges. What Chris tells each of them is like, Harmony, go at it, and then this challenge would be like synchronized swimming, and it's like Dimitri has like a bunch of wood. It's like, fuck, all this wood, useless. There's a lot of humor you could do with the truck shop idea. Uh, But most importantly, you can just use it as like a branching for like different ideas of challenges. Like, yeah, you just have all these like all this random stuff, and you kind of have them like the whole risk reward system of, you know, actually buying things that you can keep to help you not only in the challenge but any challenge afterwards. It's kind of useful. Have like every beginning of every challenge, or how I would do it, like have it separated into two halves. Like you have the preparation half, which is just setting up all the character dynamics for the rest of the episode. For the second half, introducing what like the concept is going to be, have them go to the truck shop, buy things, have them like just build up everything, and then the second chapter could just be the challenge and how they interact with the challenge. And then of course you get the elimination. You can have the winner be the same person. You can just have Candy win. I know, like I said, Candy wins. Like, yeah, fine. Uh, you could have Dimitri kind of, you know, still be his like pseudo Russian Mao sort of deal. Because honestly, honestly Dimitri's like the only passable character. And like, he's just worse Mao. Because he has like no one to bounce off of, really. He's just kind of there, and he's just kind of just deliberately screwing over everyone. You can see, like, you could even have the elimination order be the same, but now would it be more worthwhile to go through each of these like each half, like seeing how everything plays out, how crazy and creative can you get, like with a vague concept. It's like, let's think of like either the most craziest thing challenge for this vague concept, or something like incredibly simple to kind of just fuck with everyone. Let everyone's mind go wild. Like, what direction is it gonna take something like that? There's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of anticipation you can do with the idea. When it comes to characters, you could do the whole dynamic with Dimitri kind of just only really using getting an alliance, but really only using it to kind of to get rid of just everyone he just doesn't like. I mean, I think that's probably like the only good the idea for like any of the characters that I like. Is like, oh, Dimitri's like, he doesn't even care about the alliance because like he's only really using an alliance because he wants to eliminate everyone himself, but he just uses the alliance more as like a way to help him get that, instead of like, oh, just help me round up and control the game. It's like, no, I'm gonna control the game myself. These guys are just gonna help me kind of make sure that people get you know, they kind of focus on others and kind of get rid of them. But I'm the one who's gonna specifically screw the game over in each challenge to specifically get rid of them. So I like that. I like Dimitri would be like a bet, like in that way Dimitri would actually turn into a better Mao, because he would also, because like the whole thing with Mao is like he kind of relies on everyone having to be stupid for him to work, and that's kind of what he does in the original story. Everyone kind of just is stupid to kind of have him work. But with this case, with him, with more him setting everything, having to set everything up, and instead of like, you can have him do the truck shop stuff instead of going for the challenge. He buys stuff from the truck shop specifically to try and either get rid of the competition, like physically harm him or something like that, to basically more or less just deliberately cheating. Like you could have him be like an total cheater character. Like he comes up with like all these crazy, wacky things. Like he's Russian mob, of course. He'd be crazy, specifically to try and keep his team like alive, so that we can like keep the alliance of convenience alive as long as he can. Uh, to like the whole no one's allowed to have a fun party, like no fun party. And of course, you could have Tony Montana, who's also in the story, kind of be the main opposer with these types of characters. They're only as good as who's specifically opposing them. And I figured, Russian mob versus Italian mob, you can do the whole symmetry thing. Like, oh, Tony is basically just a corrupt mob, like an evil mobster, but he actually has standards. Like, he actually wants to win legitimately. Because, like, I'm already rich. I'm already at the top of the game. Like, you could do, like, that's actually a really cool idea. Dimitri's, like, basically, like, a more lower rung member of a mob. And he's, like, he constantly wants power to kind of assert himself, while Tony's already at the top, but he kind of sees how disillusioned it is being on top. So it's like, he wants to win. He actually wants to win the contest legitimately. Because, like, I want to prove that Tony Montana. And you can do like the romance between him and Candy, and then also Maya and what the fuck are the other girl's name? I don't really care. You can even do like the Chiro thing with like she just doesn't like everyone mistakes Chiro for a girl because that's like a big thing in Chihiro's character. I think I pronounced that name right. There's Rennie. You could like I gotta say this. Why did you constantly use non-gender pronouns for Rennie when Rennie is like a female to male trans character, and even got like even got the actual like the bottom surgery to basically be a guy. Like he actually got the surgery to go like the gender reassignment surgery to just use male pronouns for him. Just he's a guy. He's a guy. Just use them. Other characters you could do the whole spirit channeling with Maya. Another thing is make sure to have. I should at least mention this. At the end of the first chapter, just make sure you tell everyone what each character is from, because I don't even know half of these characters. I don't know who the cookie comes from. I'm guessing like Cookie Run or something like that. I've seen that franchise mentioned a couple times in like suggestions. But I don't know who Wyatt is. I have no idea who the fuck he is. Super Arrow. I know Super Arrow's from F-Zero. It's like Jen. I believe Jen and Caitlin are from 16. I think. But like I completely forgot. I didn't even know who Dimitri was until like later in the story where Cartman showed up and he was like, "Wait, are you the guy from Grand Theft Auto?" It's like, wait, from Grand Theft Auto? Huh? I'm just completely confused. Like, I don't know who this is. I don't know who Sonya is. I know who Chichiro is because I know the whole, from Danganronpa. Tiff from Kirby. But even like, it was implied like this is like an older Tiff for some reason. It's like, what? It's like, but then the author like better descriptions of who the characters are, what they look like, if you're gonna have them older, because that's what I'm assuming you're doing with Tiff. It's like you just have her she's basically older. I mean, Candy. I think like Candy's from Grand Theft Auto. I think it's like just having an easy way of just showing who like where all the characters are from. That's like a very easy thing to talk about. You can pretty much keep the baseline of all the characters you want, like them Chichiro just not giving a shit, Rennie not giving a shit, Tony being like I want, he like looks at Candy, he's like the prostitute, something about it makes me feel like you could do the whole you honestly I wouldn't even be surprised like Tony and Candy doing a rush romance because it kind of works for them because the whole. Tony kind of likes to live dangerously, being a mobster and all. you know what he's known for.
Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, you can kind of do the road. You can do the rush romance with them because that's what Tony would do. It would actually make sense for Tony's character. Same thing with Candy being a prostitute, and falling in love, like actually finding love. It's like she sees that whole idea of like genuine romance, or rush right head first, and then you can do Sonya and May as like more slow burn romance. That's fine. That's fine. You can still have Dimitri be the main villain. You can have like other wild cards and branch them out with like SpongeBob and I and all that. I can't believe I have to actually go through this and just like a look at the characters. Maybe it's also very weird. Like the author relies too much on Outbreak. Cause like Jim is like Jim. I forgot his last name. Jim from Outbreak. He's the subway worker who plays Dad. I completely forgot what his fucking name. What his last name? Chapman. There, Jim Chapman. There we go. There's a lot you could do with a lot of these characters. That you kind of at least flesh them out. And you can even motivate, you can even have Chris motivate the Bridget, Zoe, and Junior by saying, okay, the winner wins $1 million. Okay, what do we get? Well, whoever captained that team, the winner's team was on, gets $500 because they're technically getting paid. Kind of encourage them. Kind of have Chris pay these three. It's like, and you can even do the whole joke. It's like, you're gonna pay me. Shut up, chef. Trust him. Wink, wink, wink. No, don't. Like, there's so much you can do with the idea. Like, there is something to be done. I also would think you should at least diversify more of the characters, or worst comes to worst, you can just. If you want to redo it, you can just do a Resident Evil themed one, for all I know. Because the author really really gets a lot of mileage out of the Resident Evil Outbreak cast. So might as well just go whole hard if you do that. No! Total drama, Resident Evil edition. They're all Resident Evil characters. Oh, Wesker's the host, because of course he would be the host. It's like, and his whole thing is like completely trying to screw over Chris. Like, you can do that. Yeah, it's a fun idea. But, as it is, I think there is some stuff you could do. Like I said, there's not much to talk about with the story, because what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Like, about the actual story. It's just, oh, the prose is shit. Oh, the characters are shit. Oh, the plot is shit. Of course they're all shit. The authors knew. This is literally the author's first, probably, anything to do with writing. So it makes sense that this would be shit, because the author is learning as she goes. So, I can see, the author, hence why this whole video has just been a hypothetical. Like, okay, she writes and she practices. She gets better. She comes back. So I'm gonna through this story. I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna prove that I learned a thing or two, and it just actually redoes the entire story, makes it amazing. I'm sorry that I had to do the story very differently, because I know the author's probably gonna ask questions in your care. And yeah, you're fine to ask questions if you want, Miss Watterson. But that is how it is. I figured it would just be different. It would be more interesting to take it in this direction, because the author did ask for advice. Really, just the only true advice I can give is just practice. Like it's like, I understand. You're new at this game. Like, this is like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the author's first writing anything, so I can't really give more advice besides practice and try not to burn yourself out, because as you're a new author, a new writer, you know, you do have a risk of burning yourself out and probably not wanting to write anymore. So I hope, I wish you the best. I'm sorry that, you know, this is not really a proper review, but I need to do these things differently. So yeah, this has been Dark Symphony 777, and